just it. Cold eyes that will stare into your soul. I think Catherine should not be a character. I don't like that they added that storyline, especially I'm like an English professor. So this sentence and the symbolism is pass the towel for a buck I might actually shows how desperate these kids are to get money. Hey, that's my cigar. You're still another. Get up, I'm back. Today, as a rejoicing of me seeing the 1992 Newsies movies, we're going to be talking about the Broadway Newsies versus the movie Newsies. What I like better, what I don't like, why did they change this lyric, why did they add this plot line? I'm going to start out by giving you a little history about my history with Newsies. So back a couple of years ago, my class was going to take a field trip to go see a production of Newsies live, and I was going to go to a GT leadership viewing a high school on that same day. I didn't want to see Newsies. I thought it sounded boring. I didn't want to see it. And then it got canceled. A virus, it canceled my trip to the high school, so I had to go see Newsies, and I didn't want to go, but honestly, I loved it. It was a really good production. The sets were great. It was a big theater. I don't want to say it was like seeing it on Broadway, but it kind of was, because it's the same story, same sets. Singing was good. So I have seen it live, but it's been a couple of years. I have listened to the Broadway soundtrack. No, I have not seen the Broadway recording they put on Disney Plus because I don't want to. That's why. So what I'm going to start out with is basically the first song of the show. A bunch of lyric changes here that I don't understand from the movie. Well, first of all, let me say that in the Broadway show, they start out with a prologue of Santa Fe, which I don't like, because let me set the context for you. In the movie, there is a bit of jumbled talking, but like the first full line you really hear a character say is, hey, that's my cigar, you'll steal another. Hey, get up, bummers, you got work to do. And another thing I'm gonna add real quick is I know the singing in the movie is not great, but I love their thick New York accents and Brooklyn accents, and I feel like the Broadway show doesn't have that hardly close to as much, but I love the, like, it just like brings a sort of realism to the thing that I really enjoy. And yeah, I enjoyed the movie version. So let's actually start out using my handy dandy iPad. So in the movie, the first lines go, that's my cigar, you'll steal another. Hey, bummers, we got work to do. Since when did you become my mother? I stopped ballin'. Who asked you? And then, for some reason, in the Broadway version, it's, hey, that's my cigar, you'll steal another. Hey, look, it's bath time at the zoo. I thought that I'd surprise my mother if you can find her. Who asked you? So, I don't like, hey, look, it's bath time at the zoo line. I actually hate that line. I don't know what it means, surprise my mother. I guess it's the same vibe, but I like the, like, hey, no crying here, like, shut up, you know, we don't got time for feelings. It just gives it more of a vibe than that line did. Still on that song, I'm going to show you the Broadway version first, which I don't like better. So it stays the same for a bit until they almost all knows how to read, and then it's a crooked game we're playing, one will never lose, long as suckers don't mind paying, just to get bad news. But let me show you the original, which I like better. I smell money, you smell foul, met this girl last night. I'll move your elbow past the towel, for a buck I might. This one gives so much more character and realism. Doing a deep dive. I'm like an English professor. So this sentence and the symbolism is pass the towel, for a buck I might actually shows how desperate these kids are to get money. Still going on this song, let me talk about a part that I really hate that they cut out. So here's the Broadway version. Actually, I'm gonna go with the movie version first. So still carrying in the banner. What's it say? You call that a headline? That won't pay. I get better stories. So where's your spot? From the copper on the beat. God, it's hot. I was gonna start with 20. Will you tell me? But a dozen will be plenty. Tell me, how am I gonna make ends meet? We need a good assassination. We need an earthquake or a war. I love the characters of these lines. This really shows, like, what is, like, they will do anything for a headline. What is that? That headline crap. Like, that's not gonna give me any money. What do you think this is? We don't live for the dumb stuff. And then they changed it in the Broadway version. You want to move the next edition, give us an earthquake or a war. How about a crooked politician? Yeah, with that ain't news no more. Which, how about a crooked, that's, alright, but they cut out, like, that whole part. And the sad part is, in the original, they carry all that stuff, like, I was gonna start with 20, but it doesn't really, and, like, they keep saying that in the background, like, that whole stuff, which I like better. And then, like, the movie better, which is very rare. I like the Broadway remakes better than movies a ton. This is rare stuff for me. On a lot of these notes, I just don't understand why they cut it, and I keep the movie version. Now we're going for another song that I honestly think the Broadway completely ruined, which is sad because it's such a good song. King of New York. In my opinion, Catherine should not be a character. I don't like that they added that storyline, especially now that I've seen the original. And I'm not saying I saw the original, then I saw the live show first, and now I'm seeing the original, and I understand that Catherine should not have been a plotline. Okay, so here's the part I don't understand why they changed this. So the opening of King of New York in the original is a pair of new shoes with matching laces, a permanent box at cheap braces, a porcelain tub with boiling water, a Saturday night with the mayor's daughter. Look at me, I'm the great. And then in the Broadway version, they kept the first two lines the same. A pair of new shoes with matching laces, a permanent box at the cheap braces, pastrami on rye with a sour pickle, my personal puss on a wooden nickel. We went from talking about a porcelain tub to a sandwich. And also, I think what they've tried to do, I'm actually noticing this after I've, like, looked at a heck of a lot of lines that they've changed, is change the aspect that the Newsies are boys, and boys wanna, how do I say this nicely, get with girls, even though a lot of the Newsies are, but, like, still, like, that was a huge aspect in here. Like, a girl would walk by, everyone would take off their hats. Like, the boys mentioned multiple times how they want it.
Great, when I say I wanna till the break of dawn, baby,
and they kind of took that aspect out of the musical, which I feel like makes it more unrealistic. I guess it is a bit more polite, but part where I don't understand why they changed it. This is the original. This is kids singing it. Children. So I don't know why they. I don't know. A corduroy suit with fitted knickers. Amazon. Mezzanine seat to see the flickers. Havana cigars that cost a quarter. An editor desk for the star reporter. Tip your hat. He's the king of New York. Completely change it. A solid gold watch with a chain to twirl it. My very own bed and an indoor toilet. A barbershop haircut that cost a quarter. A regular beat for the star reporter. Amps gray punk. She's the king of New York. Who'd have thunk? I don't know why they would change that. It doesn't make sense. I like them singing about cigars. Another line that I don't understand was added, not in the original at all. So let's get drunk, yeah, not with liquor. Fame works quicker when you're the king of New York. That's so humorous to me because in the movie, right after they sing this song, all of them get big, even the children, like 7-year-olds, get big glasses of beer or Guinness. I don't know what it is. I tried to find the clip of them toasting, but I couldn't find it, so this is the best we're gonna do for now. Like, that's just, they were at a bar when they sang the song, so, like, that's just how it was. No, I almost thought, is this a Disney Broadway production, because that makes sense, but this isn't supposed to be a kid's show. Is it? Is that the reason? Moving on from that song, we're going to go to Santa Fe, and I'm not going to spend a long time on this song because I'm like comparing lyrics on Spotify. I go to the original Santa Fe, I read the lyrics, I'm like, all right, let's see if they change anything. I go to the Santa Fe from the Broadway version, and I'm like, did I click on the wrong song? These lyrics are completely different. I don't even want to spend time comparing it because I would have to compare the whole entire song. But it says something in the original along the lines of, so that's what a family looks like, mother, daughter, son. Well, I don't got parents. Who said you needed them? Newsies having more fun. That was a made up rhyme, and there's nothing like that in the song. And another thing I want to point out like that, in the original Seize the Day, open the gates and seize the day, don't be afraid and don't delay, nothing can break us, no one can make us give our rights away. I searched both of the Seize the Day songs in the Broadway version, and you know where I found that verse? Nowhere. Now it's time to seize the day. Stare down the odds and seize the day. Minute by minute, that's how you win it. We'll find a way, but let us seize the day. A bit fishy to me that you would take out the phrase, no one can make us give our rights away. Amen to that. And remove it from all versions of Seize the Day. Broadway stands, tell me if I just missed that line or if I am going crazy. And onto my kind of point that I added earlier about how they want to be more polite to women than boys actually were. They completely, I can't even compare it because they gave Meta a completely different song called That's Rich, when in the movie her song is called My Lovey-Dovey Baby. And I skimmed over the song That's Rich. And the gist of it, it's more about like, I'm gonna fall in love and not let's go to my house and get it on, you know? And I liked the other version better. And I'm also, from what I remember, does Jack kiss Meta in the Broadway musical? Because I don't remember that happening. I remember, but in the movie he does. And it kind of shows like Jack doesn't give a frick, does what he wants. And I'm gonna talk about something, a Charlotte fangirl moment. I was gonna think, what if someone watches this video? I don't care. Jack Kelly, 92, Spot Conley, 92, and probably a bunch of those other background music characters were hot. That's just it. They're hot. Like, Spot, hit me up, bro. Jack, where you at? And in the Broadway version, none of them are hot. I saw a picture of Spot Conlon and I wanted to actually die. Like, it was like, what is that? What? That's not how his character looks. He doesn't have those cold eyes that will stare into your soul and that smile that can actually kill you. Like, no, that's not my Spot. Some people might say Jeremy Jordan is hot. I disagree completely. Is it because I don't have a thing for blondes? Yes. But to be fair, this Jack Kelly is kind of blonde-ish. What I'm trying to say is they're hotter in the movie than they are in the Broadway show. Hi, editing Charlotte here. I'm not saying that this is a reason that I like the movie better. Like, yes, it's nice to have nice people to look at, but it's not like I'm judging, I'm adding more points to the movie because they have hot people. Like, people can't really, well, they could control their appearances, but like, I'm not like judging people based on their appearances because that would just be like, no. Spot just is so like more evil than he looks like in the Broadway show. Like, he could kill you and I would let him. The last thing I want to talk about is why I don't think Catherine was a good idea, because the main point of the movie is Jack found family in those boys. He didn't stay because of a love interest. He didn't do stuff because of her. He stayed because the boys were his family. Sorry. Like, it wasn't he stayed because he fell in love with a girl and he wanted to date her. Yeah, he liked Davy's sister, but that wasn't why he changed. He didn't even know if she cared about him or not. Like, it was fine that he liked Davy's sister at the end, but like, they didn't make it a major plot point, and for that I'm so grateful. This is my last point I want to say. I've looked it up and looked everywhere, and the line, I object. You object on what grounds? On the grounds of Brooklyn, Your Honor, is not in the Broadway musical, and that makes me mad enough to not watch it all entirely, because Spot Conlon, saying that On the Grounds of Brooklyn, Your Honor, was so iconic. And the way Racetrack looked at him, to be fair, I would look at him that way too. To wrap it up, I loved the movie. Maybe I would like it better if I saw it on Broadway, but I've seen it live and I still think the movie is better. One thing I will say before I go, the singing in the movie was not great. Jack Kelly's singing was absolutely terrible. But his acting, I don't want to say was better, but I liked him better. I liked the actor who played Jack Kelly better than Jeremy Jordan, but Jeremy Jordan's singing was way better than Jack Kelly's and most of the guys in this movie. So, Broadway, better singers, movie, better everything else. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.